Scotty Fox Jr. has had one heck of a season for West Virginia. Sources are telling me he's either going to get poached or he's going to get paid. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia. Thank you so much for joining in, guys, as we dive into another episode of West Virginia football. And this episode going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5. That'll make you holla. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Make sure you download the FanDuel app today to get started. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team every single day. Let's get to it. Not alone, of course, to react to this news with me, we have the one, the only offensive coordinator for the Marshall Thurning Herd, Jackson Johnson.
How you doing today, good buddy?
Doing good, man.
I saw where the cat's head turned when he heard is Scotty Fox Jr. going to be poached or paid. He's like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, my mascot's on the chair behind me. It's just not worth the energy to try to get her to get down, Plus, like somebody put in the comments, she likes to stay close to me, apparently. So it's all good. As long as she's not trying to – there's been one time where she jumped off and tried to hang on the blanket. So hopefully that don't happen. But let's get into this. So I'll tell you guys exactly my process for how I got this information. So somebody sent me a link for the Between the Ears episode today where they were talking about Scotty Fox, the potential money he may get paid and all that. I don't want to reveal that. You can go, make sure you go follow them over there on their episode and check it out if you want to know. The money's pretty substantial, right? So the question became for me, okay, well, how realistic is that if that's the case, if that's the money potential? And think, they use an example that Chandler Morris got $1 million at Virginia, correct? So if we're talking in that vicinity for a guy like Scotty Fox, who, has on the year right around 1,200 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 5 picks, 200 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, let's be fair. 2 of those interceptions came in one game, and some of his very first action as a player. So if we remove 2 of those interceptions, you're talking about almost 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns to 3 interceptions on the ground included. That's a 136 quarterback rating. It's right around 60% completion percentage. So those are extremely good numbers for a true freshman in his first year. Are they Bear Bachmeier? No. Are they Heinzel or however you say his name at Pitt? No. I mean, not everybody can be this elite player as a freshman. But is Scotty Fox worth investing in for the future? Jackson, you were telling me earlier you felt yes.
3 words. Yes, definitely. Absolutely, you should invest in Scotty Fox Jr. He is the way of the future for Mountaineer Nation.
You feel that way, honestly?
I know that way.
Okay, here's where it gets a little dicey. So I reached out to somebody, obviously, and wanted to know about this, like trying to get to the center of it, to see if there's any kind of resolution as to what people are thinking, right? And the answer that I got kind of shocked me a little bit. It's one of 2 things. He's either going to get poached or he's going to get paid. There is no settling for less here. There is no, I'm going to take a hometown discount here. It's going to be poached or paid, basically, right? So that's where it stands. And that is, straight from people who have spoken with people around that situation. So, well, this is one person that's spoken to people in that situation or around that situation. So, just one source, of course, but I just wanted to report that to you guys, see what you thought. I think it's an interesting conversation to have, right? We've got 1 game left this year, Texas Tech, and, he could really put himself you win that game, and let's say he pulls it out somehow as the quarterback and upsets Texas Tech. And then you're talking about he may really get a shot up the boards then if you do that. But let's say we lose, like we're probably going to or supposed to. He's still, I think you have to make a decision at West Virginia. He's a very good quarterback, but is he a great quarterback? Is he Pat White or is he Skylar Howard, right? Or is he, well, Skylar Howard's really good too. Maybe it's not a great example. Is he Scott? Yeah, maybe Skylar Howard's a better comparison than Pat White. Is he Skylar Howard, a guy that can get you 10 wins, or is he maybe Will Greer, a guy that can get you a lot of recognition, can get you a lot of wins, but maybe not put you in that Big 12 championship category? That's not all on Will Greer, and I totally acknowledge that too. I'm trying to find the best comp for this off the top of your head, not easy, but my basic point is this. I think, West Virginia is in a situation where they've got a quarterback that's played really well as a freshman. Unfortunately, you didn't just go with him to start the year. I'm sure this team would have been a lot better had you just done that and used the money on the other quarterbacks elsewhere. But you can never read the future. And so I think in this scenario, we found out what we found out because of the situation Scotty ended up being in. You lost a couple of players along the way. It was literally by necessity. Sometimes the baptism by fire can be a good thing. And, he's performed well without really, any preparation outside of just what a quarterback in his situation would get, third string or fourth string. What would he be with the full offseason with everybody behind him, knowing he was the guy? I think it's a really, really interesting and polarizing conversation because he can run this offense and he can run it, but is he the kind of quarterback that we've had in the past that's been so dynamic, like that you just have to account for him at all times? You can't even think about letting him run it like a Pat White or like a shoelace that was in Michigan, Denard Robinson. I'm curious, man, what you guys think down below. Let me know in the comments. Do you feel like West Virginia should hold on to – what if you had to make a choice? Rich Rod goes and finds his guy in the portal, which is an elite running quarterback, or would you rather have Scotty Fox, somebody who's still growing in that area but certainly capable? He's got 200 yards, but also has the potential to be an elite passer. So you're talking about turning into a more passing team where it runs it with the running backs and more than the quarterbacks, right? So with all those options presented to you, Jackson, there is one other possibility, I suppose. You bring in a guy to compete with him. Do you think that's a possibility? The West Virginia is not going to just sit back and
I could see that.
One quarterback, certainly going into next year. Would you think they would maybe bring a guy in to compete with Scotty?
I'd at least consider it, but for right now, I'm going to stick with Scotty Fox because I always believe in stability, and stability is key.
It is key, and I think Scotty has brought that. Look at where we were, and it's not an understatement or an overstatement. It's where we were, 5-game losing streak. You were juggling between quarterbacks during that. Khalil Wilkins, Scotty Fox. Nobody really had a lot of snaps. Boom. Then Scotty Fox is implemented officially full-time based on play, and everything stabilizes. You almost beat TCU. You beat Houston. You obviously you beat Colorado. You should have beat TCU. Should have beat obviously Arizona State. And Scotty made plays in all those games that you can live with. The interception at the end of the game against Arizona State is, you can live with that. I think he's definitely put himself in a position. And would I be excited with him at quarterback going in next year? I would be. Does my curiosity get the best of me? Wondering, with our new financial situation being a lot better than it was coming into the year, are we potentially – because it's a very important decision. It just flat out is. If you look at the Ole Miss situation, and I hate to bring this up again, but – and I've showed you guys the text messages between myself and gosh, man, his name slipped my mind all of a sudden. It's so hard. Hold on. Trinidad Chambliss. So, whenever because it's been 6-7 months ago when he and I talked, he was really wanting to come to West Virginia because of the Rich Rod offense. And obviously there was the connection because of our running back that transferred him from Bear State as well. So, I just think, what would Trinidad Chambliss have been in this, who is pushing a Heisman potentially season, right? Last year he was at Ferris State Division III. This year he's running shit at Ole Miss. Pardon my language. I mean, it's tantalizing when you think about West Virginia. They're if you give Rich Rod enough resources to just analyze who's out there, who he think fits what he does, and not limit him. Like, unfortunately, we were a little bit limited because we got in late. Well, Rich Rod did. You had, obviously, when you look at it, you got late December, the first portal window had already closed. So when it opened back up again, you had those second tier guys like, well, we noted, right, which we already kept Nico. So that was potentially somebody we thought was going to be great, but it didn't work out, obviously. And so then you added who you added, Max Brown, et cetera. So I think it's worth noting that, this first window will be technically the first time Rich Rod would have a pick, along with everybody else at quarterback. And the fact that we're not playing in a bowl game means you get a head start on everybody by a week, right? So that's the thing, right? And it's not like people aren't already looking into this, but I just present to you guys, I want your question or your answer down below. If given the opportunity and nobody else could see your answer, let's pretend, would you pick Scotty Fox or would you pick the field and Rich Rod's judgment? It's an interesting concern, right? Because you're going to have to pay this kid similar to a transfer Power 4 quarterback at this point. That's just the position he's played himself into. He's going to have a position of strength from a bargaining standpoint. So just keep that in mind. Would you rather go get a guy that's got 2 years left on his career that has already had a breakout season that can do the job? Or do you keep investing in Scotty, who has turned this thing around with you after 5 games? I mean, is it completely turned around? But no, but it got turned. It certainly, the momentum, the depth, the negative momentum stopped, full stop. It's not just him, but it's not just Scotty that helped do that. But he hasn't had a whole lot of help here, guys. Cam Bond showed up a little bit. He's playing with literally nobody at running back and an offensive line that's absolute trash at times. So what is he going to look like if you put really good players around him? So it's a very hard decision. I really truly don't know, or I don't admire whoever has to make the choice. No. Best of both worlds is you can pay to keep Scotty and you can pay to bring a guy you believe in to compete with him, and then whoever wins that, you feel really good about your backup. But this is an interesting conversation, Jackson, and I know you're set in on Scotty, but there's also the field to consider here, considering there are guys like Chambliss that are going to be available again this year.
Well, it all depends on what happens with Lane Kiffin, especially that quote-unquote ultimatum. So, I mean,
well, I don't mean specifically Chambliss, but yeah, I mean, he could go back. Maybe he could be available again. I don't know, but he's probably going to be too expensive at this point.
Well,
he was very gettable this offseason, for
that is true.
Probably $800K or $1 million. He didn't even go to Ole Miss to be the starter. He went to go compete. Let's go to break. Interesting conversation. One other thing I got to mention about women's basketball, and then we'll jump in the Jackson's world of college football right after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, FanDuel is doing it pretty big, if you didn't know. And we like FanDuel, obviously, around here, as they are just killing it in every way, shape, or form. And the NBA is back, if you didn't know. And right now, when it comes to the NBA, there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when that first $5 bet wins, but you can't win if you don't play. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Segment 2, crack a gator do. So back with Jackson Johnson here. Thank you, Jackson. Big congratulations to Mark Kellogg today as the women. And I watched every second of this game. I planned on covering it right afterwards. I really did. But Mark Kellogg got win number 500 today in an 80-51 win over Appalachian State. This team was close at times in the first half, but for the most part, West Virginia just pulled away from this thing, especially in the second half. It wasn't really close. Gia Cook had 19 points in this game, you know, and I mean, if you think, and you want to, here's the crazy thing. If I told you to guess what Mark Kellogg's record is as a coach, you would be totally, and I mean totally, absolutely shocked if I told you what his record is. Did you look at it?
Not yet.
Don't look yet. So when I mean totally, absolutely shocked, it's like, it's so good that I had to double take when I saw it. You ready to hear this? Mark Kellogg's record as a head coach is 500-136.
Wow.
Out of 636 games, he's won 500 of them. That's insane. That's totally insane. What an incredible record. You know how lucky we are to have him? And here's the thing, y'all. Consider what he did the other day with the Greenbrier 5. This gets me fired up. Kara Lawson is going to coach the USA women's basketball program this season for the Olympics. She went into the half with the lead on a team with 4 McDonald's All-Americans on it, and Duke, 4 McDonald's All-Americans. Let me go back and I can tell you, well, it doesn't matter who they are. So you got a 23-20 lead, and you've got an 11-man rotation against a team with 1 starter and 4 bench players in the second half, and you almost lost the game by double digits. That's how good Mark Kellogg is. He sat in a zone for the entire second half and was able to pull that thing out. And then when Celia Riviere got in foul trouble, he just moved her in another place into the zone and put a guard at the 5 spot, and it worked. Like, the coaching prowess, he outcoached her up, down, left, right, forwards, backwards, upside down. It wasn't even close. Kara Lawson, there's no way should be, at this point after that performance, the women's coach. She's only getting it because of her incredible career. You know, and she's obviously was an analyst and everything before that. And I loved her analyst work. But Mark Kellogg, clearly a better coach. It's not even close. And I'm telling you guys, we've got one of the greatest coaches in college basketball in Mark Kellogg. I'm convinced. I asked him about it when I interviewed him. I said, dude, I feel like you could coach the men. He has coached men's ball before. He coached it for a couple years before he came over, and he's obviously set where he's at. But I really thought Rim Baker should have considered potentially hiring him to be the men's coach. Like, I really felt that way. I still do. If we got lucky with Ross Hodge, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change it for the world. But if I were Rim Baker, that's the choice I would have made. And I wanted to do videos on it, but it was just so controversial. But I think that this take will prove to be even better over time. I think Mark Kellogg over as the men's coach would have absolutely crushed it. Just my opinion. Last little note here. West Virginia football is trying to get just an incredible defensive lineman. And I had it pulled up here, and then I went searching for the let me get it pulled up again here. Yeah, Jibriel Conde, 6'5", 290-pound defensive lineman out of Grand Valley State. Guys, this kid is an absolute stud. He plays in the middle of their defense. It's a 3 technique and is an absolute horse. And he looks like an SEC defensive lineman. Wisconsin, his coaches from Grand Valley State are at Wisconsin now. They're one of his offers, so it looks like they may have the front runner status on him. But go look at Conde, I'm sorry, Jibriel, Jibriel Conde, Conde. It's at Jibriel Conde. Go check out his highlights, man. He is a stud. So go check him out. If West Virginia pulls him in, he'll be. We're talking about West Virginia getting a different caliber of defensive lineman. This is the kind of guy that you want to get. All right. Without further ado, Jackson Johnson, take it away.
There we go. 7-3, getting ready for the Glee.
No, we still got 5 minutes left in the segment. We can do a couple games.
Oh, here we go.
So go ahead.
Oh, here we go. We got the Big Ten, and it starts with Rutgers, Ohio State on big noon kickoff. Man, this week is sad if you have to have big noon kickoff for Rutgers, Ohio State.
Yeah. What's Rutgers? Are they bowl eligible or are they pushing it?
They're still alive for bowl eligibility at 5-5.
Yeah, they're actually they're a decent team. They're not horrible. I remember they beat Ohio first game of the year. I watched every snap. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to win. They have no chance in this game. It should be a 30-point loss. But yeah, I'm not going to say I hate the suck guys, obviously. So
I'll go with Ohio State 42-10 over Rutgers. But the game next week, that's going to be fun to watch. And we got the Minnesota Golden Gophers going up against the Northwestern Wildcats on Big Ten Network at Wrigley Field in Northwestern's temporary home stadium until next year.
Yeah, this is kind of a tougher pick, I think. But this is at Northwestern, so I'll give them the edge.
I'll go with Minnesota in a 24-21 fashion.
They just been playing so bad lately, though. But yeah, I mean it's definitely a close game. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not.
Well, on the bright side for Northwestern, if there's not enough bowl eligible teams for 2025, and you would have Missouri State and another group of 5 team that's in their first year. That's right, Delaware.
The Blue Hens.
So you would have them in a bowl game, and Northwestern could get in because of their APR record. Obviously, I mean they're the smart kids of the Big Ten, so of course they'd be getting in a bowl game.
Yeah.
And
what we got next?
And on Fox Sports 1, we've got Michigan State going to Kinnick Stadium against the Iowa Hawkeyes on Fox Sports 1.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State has had so many close losses this year. You look at it, they lost it. They had a close game against Nebraska. They had a close game against USC. They had a close game against Michigan. They've been in a lot of games. This is going to be another game they're going to be in, I think, but they're going to lose ultimately, by probably 8 or 10. I pick Iowa.
Iowa's going to win 31-14 over Michigan State.
Yeah.
And on the Big Ten Network, we've got the Michigan Wolverines going up against the Maryland Terrapins in a classic trap game in College Park, Maryland.
Yeah, that can be a tough stadium to play in, honestly. Like, their fans come out for them at times. Definitely better than Pitt by far. Who are they playing again?
Michigan is playing Maryland.
Okay. Yeah. Those ugly, I wonder if there were all those ugly helmets again like they did the one time that Michigan went up there. But, yeah, I mean, this is a game where Maryland is like, what do they got, 5-6 wins on the year?
Yeah, Maryland's got 4 wins for the season.
Okay.
Michigan is basically in 2-game season fighting for a playoff berth.
They are, yeah. Yeah, definitely. They've got the Buckeyes at the end of the year, and we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, I mean, they're coming off that Purdue win now, I see, a Northwestern win. They barely win in these games, but they're still winning. So, yeah, I mean, you got to give Michigan a big edge here.
Oh, yeah. I've got Michigan winning closer than the experts have it. I don't have them covering the spread against Maryland. I think they're going to win a tight one. It really shouldn't be tight, but will be anyhow. I suspect it's going to be a 21-13 victory over Maryland.
All right. How many more games we got in the Big Ten?
Oh,
'Cause we
we've
need to
got
do the Big
Nebraska,
12.
Penn State on NBC. Penn State fight for bowl eligibility. They're the 7.5 favorite against the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are looking to cap the season off with a 10-win season.
Yeah, I think somehow Penn State is going to win this game. I just do. Too many athletes, man. They've still got a lot of talent on that team.
Yeah, I'm afraid you're right. I think Penn State reluctantly wins this one, 21-17 over Nebraska.
And Dana Holgerson's the OC, and after this week, I don't think any West Virginia fans are a fan of him right now.
I like old Matt Rule, but there is one other guy I feel like. Brett Bielema returning to Kent Randall Stadium once again as the Illinois Fighting Illini go against the 3-7 Wisconsin Badgers.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy win for them in Illinois. You know, Camp Randall not easy to play at, but I'm going to pick Illinois.
Illinois is going to win this one 28-13 over Wisconsin. And on NBC late night, we've got Washington going to the granddaddy of them all, going up against the UCLA Bruins.
Yeah, Washington wins this one, obviously. Pretty easy.
Oh, yeah. Washington's going to win 35-17 over UCLA. And they said UCLA would somehow be the Cinderella story of the Big Ten at one point.
No.
Good grief.
No. They just crazy.
I know, right? It's so crazy. But last but not least, we've got Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson on CBS covering the USC Trojans and the Oregon Ducks. And it's basically a dogfight. It's 2-game season for the USC Trojans. And the Oregon Ducks, I mean, yeah, they could afford to lose this game, but I wouldn't chance it if I were Oregon because your wins are not that impressive. You're only there.
That's very true.
Oh, yeah. You're only there because you're a brand. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you look at they had a stretch where they played Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, and Oregon State. West Virginia would go 4-0 against that. Then they played Penn State. They lost to Oregon, they lost to Indiana. Destroyed Rutgers, destroyed Wisconsin. West Virginia would win these games. I'm telling you, they would.
Oh yeah, I mean,
the Iowa game was a tough game, and then they destroyed Minnesota, which is not surprising. But yeah, they don't play anybody. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. The only wins over teams that are over 500 winning percentage are Iowa and Minnesota for Oregon. And then on the other hand, we've got the USC Trojans basically fighting for their playoff lives. And get this. This is the funniest one yet. Imagine, the winner of this game between USC and Oregon still has a shot at the Big Ten title as well.
Right.
And basically, if USC was to win this game, all they have to do is hope for Michigan to upset Ohio State once again.
Once again for the 5th year in a row. Yeah.
I mean, that would be some college football chaos in the Big Ten. Who's Indiana playing in the Big Ten title? That's not a topic anybody really thought was going to be happening 10 years ago. But
3 years ago.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Good grief. And as for USC, Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, Autzen
it's just too hard to win there.
Yeah, but not for Indiana.
No, but I've got Oregon on this game. We got to go to break. Who you got?
Oregon is going to win 28-20 over USC. USC is knocked out of the playoff race. And Oregon is still alive for a slim shot at the Big Ten title and the playoff race, obviously. USC knocked out of the playoff race.
We'll be right back after the break, guys. We'll talk a little bit more about Scotty Fox. All right, guys, we are back here. No ad read for this one. Just wanted I seen a couple other people put some comments in. I just wanted to look at them live. Glad you got to a live, Ryan. Yeah, Scotty Fox, obviously, is the topic of conversation here. We moved away from it because we were picking some games, but I just wanted to let you know, if you don't mind, to drop a comment below and let me know how you feel about it. Let me know what you think will happen, as we definitely want to just get the feeling of Mountaineer Nation on how they feel the situation will play out with Scotty Fox Jr., because it's very vital to the future of the program. It's everything. It's the biggest decision on the offseason for Rich Rod and company. Do you stick with this kid or do you move away? He could be fool's gold. He could be elite. He could be a guy that gets you to 8 wins and no more. Like, you got to be able to know that, but part of me is like, part of me wonders if he's the kind of player that can take you all the way to the Big 12 championship. That's the part of me that I'm curious to figure out. Like, I have no doubt that he's a starter in the Power 4. I have no doubt that he's a good quarterback. I just don't know, because of the way our offense runs. Like, if it was a passing offense, I'm sold. If we were running a spread passing attack and Dana Holgerson was the coordinator or whoever, I'm sold. But the way Rich Rod runs offense, you need a quarterback that can take the beating, and you need a quarterback that's a willing runner and knows how to – there's a feel to it, right? You got to know when to pull it and such. The kid that we played last week, Arizona State, exactly what you want. I mean, at the mesh point, whenever you're doing the read option, you've got to be willing to hold that thing for as long as possible in the gut of the running back, and then pull that thing at the very last second, make that defensive end make a decision, or make that blitzing corner or safety make a decision, and then use your quickness to get around it or whatever. And I don't know that Scotty has that ability as a runner. He's got some, but does he have the elite ability to make people miss? Does he have the elite ability to do that? And take the beating? Those are questions I genuinely have about him. They're not about his acumen as a passer at all. Like, him as a passer, I can only hope the quarterback we have come in here has the kind of ability he has as a passer. I just worry about his running ability, and that's what this offense is based off of. So consider that. And I also say, if you look at the field, what the field has to offer, Rich Rod is going to bring a guy in that can run. Like, I believe that the next quarterback we get will be a guy similar to Khalil Wilkins or more. That's just an elite runner that can really make people miss, that can really run the offense. Like, he's going to really have his pick of the litter this time for the most part. Maybe the top quarterbacks will be out of range. But it gives me great anxiety to try to – I would not want to be Rich Rod in that scenario. But, yeah, the people I talked to today I think Scotty's in a place where he's just thinking about this, right, like what I was told, like this is just more of the conversation. Scotty's just thinking about the here and now. He's just worried about getting ready for Texas Tech. But the feeling is, he feels like he's put himself in a pretty good place here to get paid and be the leader here. And he feels like he's putting up on tape to do that somewhere else if they're not going to invest in him here. So I think they're pretty stress-free about it. Because there are some people, I've seen some people say that maybe he would go down to G5. I don't feel that way at all. I think Scotty's putting up on tape to prove that he's absolutely a P4 quarterback. Maybe it wouldn't be now the thing is, though, would he go to a winner? I don't know. Would he have to go? He's in a spot where he's, not established 100% to where he would have to go in somewhere and probably battle it out with wherever he goes. And maybe there's a coordinator or a coach out there that's fully sold on him, and maybe it's in West Virginia. I'm not saying I'm just saying I'm open to either possibility. I'm not saying against or for, because I can see big arguments for going out and getting somebody else. Excuse me, but I can also see big arguments for keeping him. So I'm curious down below. Do you guys feel that he can run as a runner this offense? Not as a passer. We've seen him pass it all over the yard. He's made some elite throws this year. As a runner, he's very slim. And we've seen him get really hurt a couple different times this year, or at least nicked up running the ball. It worries me. We need a guy that can get up time after time and absorb it, like the guy from, I'm going to say him again last week, but Sims from Arizona State is exactly the kind of player you need to be able to absorb that stuff. So maybe Scotty can add some weight on. But yeah, this is an interesting conversation. Guys, Jackson is over at the Voice of College Football, Alabama. You can also find him at the Jacksonian or on his time calling into the Fine Bomb show, or maybe he'll go on a Rutgers podcast. You never know where you'll find Jackson, but is
here, there, everywhere.
He's here, there, and everywhere. I appreciate you so much for coming on, man.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on. Good buddy.
Yep. Guys, thank you so much for joining in. We're going to jump out, but keep this in mind. Scotty Fox, is he the future or is he someone else's future? Drop the comment below. Let me know. I want to debate you about this. We'll see you on the next one. But until then, he says roll damn tide. And I tell you, don't forget to cue them country roads.